Welcome back to Brokers of Secrets. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about the journey of an emperor or an empress, the most important journey that you can experience if you want true success and freedom. Now, many people who experience the hero's journey thinks that life is about a fight. They have to fight to win, and they're constantly in fight or flight, which is terrible for their nervous system, terrible for their physical health, and terrible for their relationships. Because guess what? They'll be in stress, they'll be under stress, right? And then they'll get better when money's in the account. They'll get under stress again. It's an endless cycle or loop, right? If you haven't taken the loop quiz, I strongly recommend going to loop.upgrade.com, loop.upgrd.com, where you're going to learn about your loop, your repeating behaviors, because it's going to give you insight on which one of the phases you're actually in. Right? Now listen, the hero's journey is a phase, which I hope that if you're listening, you become aware of it. And then you actively, right, really pay attention to how you can transition into the emperor's journey. Now, it's not about money. It's not even about just having more freedom of time. It's about intention. It's about an intentional transition. So let me give you a great metaphor, which will explain to you why I said in the previous episode that you need to map your external world to your internal world more accurately and learn how to modify this and observe the change on the external world, right? Because too many people are just compensating for what they don't do in the mind, in the physical. They're working extra time, doing extra work, multiple times more energy output, thinking they're going to get it back, but they don't, right? It's the 80-20 rule. Most of what they do actually don't contribute to the results. That is the hero's journey. They're working to get out of that slave, not only mindset, but condition, right? The human slavery condition. Although we don't officially call these people slaves, which is the majority of the population, they are experiencing slavery. And I remember being there for a long time. So there's no shame, right? It's not about status here. It's about knowing the mental loops that we run. So if you're listening and if you know someone who's running that endless cycle, that loop of being a slave, that hero's journey, fighting, putting in more energy, let me save you or them some time. Share with them this episode and the previous episode, frankly, the whole podcast, but these episodes, and let me explain what I'm going to share with you this episode, right? Or this metaphor in this episode. And I'm going to explain to you and show you what I mean by mapping your reality. So let's imagine this for a moment. Fast forward 2-3 years. Let's say by listening to this episode, and some of you may already be existing students, let's say you're working with us and we help you get out of that loop and you jump into actually neurologically, right? And experientially enter the emperor or the empress's journey, right? You are now leveraging rather than being leveraged, right? And you're creating real freedom of time and energy, right? And resources. Let's say 2-3 years from now, you're experiencing this amazing, abundant life. And you're like, William or the Upgrade team, I really want to thank you guys for what you've done for me. I couldn't believe that this episode led to all of this. I couldn't believe that my training led to this with you guys, right? So I want to thank you. I want to treat you to a wonderful meal at this 5-star restaurant. Will you come see me, right? And then let's say we're in the same city and you're like, hey, we got a limo. We're going to come pick you up. Let's do this. And I'm like, I'm in, right? So on the way to the restaurant, and I'm really hungry and I'm asking you, hey, where are we going, by the way? Like, what is this restaurant, right? And you pull out your phone, you show me on your map. You're like, oh, it's right here. And then I ask you this weird question. I'm like, okay, are we going to the place on the map or are we going to the place on the map? And you're like, you just repeated the same question twice. What do you mean, right? And I'll say, well, listen, let me clarify. I'm not talking about the map that represents the location. I'm talking about the first question is, are we going to the place that's literally on the map in your phone? And you're so confused. You're like, what are you talking about? There's no restaurant on my phone, in my phone. Like, you know that. I'm like, I know that. But I'm asking the question, are we going to the restaurant that's on your phone, in your phone, or the restaurant that's being represented by this location in the map, right? On the map, in your phone. And you're like, I'm so confused. What are you talking about? I'm like, it's clear. I'm literally asking, is there a restaurant in your phone? You're like, of course not. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to creating success. So many people think in their map, they think their map is the same as their reality. They think the map on their phone, because we become so comfortable at mapping the two together. We're like, yeah, this is right here. The restaurant's right here. But the restaurant is not here. It's not on the phone. It's not on the map in their phone, right? Not possible. But we equate our map to our reality. So many people are like, oh, I have to work really hard, sacrifice health, relationship, and everything, right? Just so that I can have the money. I need to fight for my freedom. I need to fight. And there's so many people that do this. They think, and they full-heartedly accept this. They're like, oh, the market condition is not good. The economy's down. Clients are saying no. It's really difficult. Let me tell you, is the client difficult over there or over here? Is the market condition or the economy really down over there, or is it really down here? When they realize that if they accept that in their map, it becomes their reality, not the other way around. So when you are running the hero's journey in your mind, you're like, oh, this is the way. Well, it's the way because you grew up watching the hero's journey. In every cartoon, every movie, even now as an adult, you watch those superhero movies. There's always the hero winning at the end, only after many trials and tribulation, many challenges, almost dying, some of them. And then they finally have success and they seem happily ever after. But no, they repeat the cycle. They repeat this hero's journey, which is terrible. That is slavery, right? What happens when you transition and change your map to realizing that you could actually be an emperor or an empress? You don't have to be leveraged. You can gain leverage. It's a mental system that you have to adapt. Yeah, adapt to and adopt, right? You have to adopt this mental system and your world will literally change before your eyes. Here's the beautiful thing. Your world is literally a projection of what's going on in your mind. So here's another metaphor. Let's say you're watching this or listening to this, right? You're watching this on a big screen or on your computer. Let's say you hook it up to a projector somewhere and you project it to show more people this episode. That's great. We're happy about that, right? And you're like, I'm going to show my friends and colleagues this episode. It's crazy useful, very helpful. It's a mind shift. It's one mind shift, but it can change my life, right? So I'm going to share. Well, that's cool. Let's say we take the whole setup and we go back to the 1800s. If I were to ask you, how do you change what's showing on the projector? You would say, I just change what's on my phone or my laptop or tablet. It's easy. Whatever gets projected, I just have to change it here. But if I ask the town people of the 1800s, who have no idea how this works, where do you think they're going to line up if I asked them, hey, can you go change what's on the projector screen? They would go change what's on the projector screen. They would go mess with the screen, right? The external projection. They don't know how to work the laptop. They don't even know the laptop is a thing. They don't know about the connection. They don't understand. Therefore, they'll work really hard in the physical and have very little change. And those who are successful and tell you to work hard is that through working hard, they realize subconsciously, but they don't know how to explain it, that they need to change what's going on inside. So at the end of the day, they arrived at understanding that there's an internal system that projects onto the external. The emperor realized that from birth. Now, sure, you maybe don't know this from birth, but you can give it to the next generation. You can give it to yourself now. The birth of an emperor or an empress can start now for you. No more waiting. This is the time for you to actualize and accept that your destiny can be far greater with less sacrifice because your mind is literally mapped to project to your reality. And your reality is a direct projection of what's going on in your mind. And the reason you don't have what you want and you have to sacrifice, go through hardship, and do all these things, it's not because this is the nature of the natural way of life. It's not because of that. It's because you've been programmed to do that. You've been programmed previously as a slave, and you're working like a hero to escape from that, to escape from slavery so you can become a hero. But the problem is you don't stop there. Too many of you repeat the hero's journey because that is what you were taught, that is honorable and or glorious, and that is the way of life. No, I need you to step out of the hero's journey and get into the emperor or the empress journey. That happens even for the wealthiest families. They teach their kids to endure hardship, not saying that they don't need to be able to be resilient, but they teach their kids to be slaves. Wealth are lost after 2 or 3 generations because parents don't know how to transfer the emperor's mindset. They only knew how to transfer the slavery mindset. Now, your time is now to start to understand if you're able to change what's going on in your mind, you can change what's going on outside. But the trick is knowing how to map what specific items, what specific content, structure, what specific components could I change that allows me to understand and create the change in the external. This understanding and this ability to do is exactly why we exist as Upgrade. And as you continue to listen to these episodes, and many of you who are already students, I'm saying this to remind you there are trainings events that you need to attend. Leverage your coach who are actually mental programmers, right? They are actual mental programmers. Leverage the live trainings. Leverage the passive trainings. I don't know if you guys knew this. We built Upgrade for the busy people, right? Because who has time to sit there 24/7 and study? Most people don't. We build most of our trainings for passive listening. So you can actually sit down and turn it on and do whatever you do, whether it's work, do your dishes, prepare for sleep, or go to sleep. You can actually listen to our trainings in the back, and it can actually help you reprogram. Now, feel free to listen to it actively and know what we're talking about, right? That being said, the only time that you have to do active listening is when you're actually at the event if you choose to come. So we made it convenient as possible for people to enter the emperor or the empress journey. Say no to the slavery mindset. Say no to scarcity. Say no to the hero's journey. Say yes to the emperor and the empress journey. Your time to freedom and abundance starts now. Now, in the next episode, we're going to talk about what happens when you become the emperor and the empress. How do you speed up exponentially? Because now you're building a system to succeed, no longer leveraging your life force, your time, but ecologically creating win-win with other people to have success and allow success effortlessly entering into your life, right? Basically, simply put, have all the success you want, have it all, and have the love, the health, the fitness, the happiness that you also desire, and be able to pass it down. That's real success. That's what an emperor or an empress can do, not a unsustainable, repeated hero's journey that creates pain, fear, and lack of energy and time, right? So anyway, next episode, we're going to talk about the magician's journey. The fastest way to really become an emperor is, of course, leverage us because we play the role of a magician, but we actually teach people who are building their empires how to become their own magicians, how to become magicians to their team, their own managers. Because imagine if you were the CEO and you can become the magicians for your team member. What happens? You will be able to train them. You'll be able to help them. Of course, we're happy to help you too, but imagine being able to do both. So the next episode, we're going to talk about the key skills and the specific components of how do you go from an emperor's journey or empress journey to the magician, the wizard's journey. That is a special one. That is one that most people don't know about. It's almost too secretive, but we're going to expose that and we're going to share that with you. So stay tuned.